now, I want to put another aspect to this discussion, and I'm going to, like you mentioned, about a number of scams. But right now, before I take on those, I think 10 to 15 scams that have been listed under the white paper by the government of India, and the ones that I've just named a few of them, there is the big, scandal that had arisen of the non-performing assets of the banks in our country. And in fact, information about that had been revealed once the BJP came into power in 2014. And I remember doing these massive day by day, I think 100-day, 200-day reports on every specific bank and the scams that had been committed, the non-performing assets, the millions and millions of rupees of frauds that had been committed. And that brings into perspective the comparison that the BJP is drawing in the UPA era and what the Congress at this point in time is also attacking the BJP on. Sharad, quickly a response from you, since you are part of the next phase of this discussion about the UPAs, and does Congress have any redeeming factor when this charge of the government comes against the Congress?
Well, it is now NPA versus NPE, the non-performing assets versus a non-performing economy, which was there in 10 years. So I think NPA has become E in many regards. But 6.6 lakh crores has been recovered, and the big narrative that was created, कि साहब 10 lakh, 11 lakh crore का write off कर दिया, अपने दोस्तों को write off कर दिया. I've been hearing that because I come from an accounting background as well. So I can understand the difference between write off and forgetting it altogether. A write-off is a balance sheet adjustment which is done to prepare your balance sheet and make provisions. It is not forgetting about that money. Then the insolvency law came and the recovery started, 6.6 lakh crore. Ab bhagte chor ki langoti bhali. Now, if a person is not left with any assets, but the bigger question, Megha, is in what period did these loans come forward? When were these loans given? That phone banking, I'm putting it in inverted commas, that phone banking led to these loans, which is what resulted in NPAs in a later period. NPA is an outcome of a few years. NPA is not tomorrow. I give a loan today and it doesn't become an NPA tomorrow. It comes after years. So I think the birth of NPAs was during UPA era, which I think is on card. And it was only that the accounting treatment and the recovery process started in the NDA period. So I think it's irrelevant. In fact, if UPA government points about NPAs, it is digging its own hole. It is shooting itself on its own foot, because those loans were created in their period. It is as simple as that, Megha.
Okay, so may quickly a response from you about I'm going sector by sector, and I talk about the NPAs, and there have been exhaustive reports, exposés that have been done in the past. In a situation such as this, where the government talks about how there has been a reformation of banks, there have been a number of small public banks that have been merged with the bigger public banks, and there was a series of them during the first Modi era in 2014. Has that positively impacted in building a robust banking system in our country?
Well, Megha, thank you for having me on your show. Well, definitely it has. Give me a minute more today, because it's a very important issue. Now, if you look at the white paper which is issued, 44% of the NPAs were hidden from the government. When government came into the picture, they did one more audit, they found it. That is point number one. Point number two, 2006 to 2008, that is where most of these NPAs came from. That is a report from the RBI itself. So that is not a biased institution. Point number three, what Dr. Kohli was rightly saying, write-off and ki bhai maaf kar diya is two different things. So that has to be cleared. Most important thing is, when Prime Minister Modi took office, he was told that there is 20,000 crores of NPAs which are there. And when the audit was done, when he got the audit done, it was 80,000 crores of NPAs, because there were a lot of NPAs which were never declared. This is the official data I'm talking about. Now, at 80,000 crores of NPAs, he had two options. One is to issue a white paper, say, bhai, itna loot ho gaya hai. But that would have ended the India story, that would have ended the investment story, and we were already on fragile 5. So what did Prime Minister Modi do? He said, I am going to take the political risk. We are going to revamp the banks. We are not declaring these NPAs. We'll declare them at the right point of time when we have recovered. Abhi baat nahi karni, because investors will lose the confidence and the India story is gone. At that point of time, Congress was attacking Modi ko economy nahi aati. Remember P. Chidambaram ji saying the knowledge of Modi, what he knows about economy can be written on a back of a stamp, postal ticket. Uske back mein likhi, that is the amount of economy he knows. He took all the brunt. And, around 6 months back, same set of banks after merger and all that. Now you had NPAs at 14.5%, you are at 4.5% today. You had 80,000 crores of loss, you are around more than 1 lakh crores of profit. That is the kind of a 360-degree turn which has taken. This is, our recoveries have been done, banks have been merged, and that what Sharanji rightly said, that phone banking was stopped. Because somebody could just call up somebody, bhai, isko loan de do, and he will get the loan. That phone banking has stopped after the Insolvency Act. A lot of recoveries were made. The amount of loan that Vijay Mallya has, more than that has been recovered from him. So there are a lot of cases like Vijay Mallya, the amount of loan they had been running an absconding, more than that recoveries have been done. But unfortunately, for some smaller people who had no assets and all that, a lot of things could not be done. But this NPA game was stopped. This was completely stopped. Imagine for 14.5 to 4.5. Imagine from 80,000 crores of loss to 1 lakh crores of profit. It's the same bank. And remember how SBI was attacked. SBI gaya, Adani ne loot diya, Modi ne bej diya, everything went on. Now SBI is the most valued PSU in the whole world. Highest amount of profit, highest number of earnings. The most valued PSU in the world is SBI. Look at the LIC. LIC was declared dead. By LIC Modi ne bej diya. They were wearing those Kali Patti. Both bej diya. LIC's result has been all-time high. The share value is all-time high. Look at HAL, for example. They said that HAL may, again, Ambani ko bej diya. Now, HAL has an order book worth billions of dollars today, and it's doing all-time high. The biggest helicopter manufacturing plant in the whole Asia is set up by HAL, and it has order backlogs for hundreds of years. Now,
Okay.
Important point here. PSUs were told Modi ne PSU bhej diya, sab bhej diya, Now, PSUs in 2014 or before Prime Minister Modi took over were 234. Now, today the PSUs are 254. Look at the profit of PSUs. 1.25 lakh crore, today it's 2.5 lakh crore. Look at the valuation of PSUs, 7 lakh crores to 90 lakh crores. So, where has UPA got its mathematics wrong? Where did they get the elements of mathematics wrong? This is the data which is given by the Honorable Prime Minister on the floor of the Parliament, and it's on record what I'm telling you.
Okay. So Sumit, I've also just make an observation. When we take a look at both the reports, the white paper and the black paper, it is much easier for any individual to go through the white paper because it is full of statistics, there are graphs, there are actually those comparisons that have been drawn. So it makes it easier for me to analyze it and come to a conclusion that these are the figures, these are the transparent facts, and thereby I understand what happened in 2004 versus what is happening in 2024. I think I would have sought a similar sort of a report that should have been put out by the Congress as well, in trying to put its point in place that what happened in 2004 or 2005 or up until 2014, and comparison drawn amongst both the 10 years that have been ruled by UPI and the NDA. Would that have made a better logic and a more forceful argument of the opposition against the BJP?
You see, Megha ji, the problem is Congress will never put a report because the more they put the numbers out, the more exposed they are, the more cases are going to come their way. Look at the more than a dozen of scams. You had a scam everywhere, and when Prime Minister Modi rightly said, "Jisne desh ko loota, usko lotana padega." Wait for the Modi 3.0, all kind of recovery from Chacha ji, Mama ji, Jija ji, whichever ji you are, that will be done. So that is what is rattling Congress, because the money has to be paid back. Why didn't Congress put this report? You see, Nirmala ji declared at the time of budget, Prime Minister gave these figures on the floor of the House, then there is a white paper issued. If you have logic, if you don't agree with it, give facts, figures and data and challenge this white paper. What hadn't happened in the case of Mr. Adani? What was that Hindenburg fiasco all about? And there were scams which happened. 12 days of Commonwealth Games, and you had these crores of money swindled out. And the Congress gave the logic, where is the proceeds of crime? If the proceeds of crime have been sent out by money laundering out of India, that doesn't mean the crime hasn't happened. You don't have to find cash in somebody's wardrobe or a bed to know that a crime has happened. Whatever the money is already laundered out.
Okay. So then also the fact, Sumit, the fact that, the development that the country witnessed from 2004 to 2014, and now making comparisons between 2014 and 2024, and that's exactly what was also mentioned by Ajit Dua, and Manasvi also said this, that it is wrong to compare these two eras, because the landscape on which the economy is performing is completely different.
You see, there's no comparison, because UPA left our country at fragile 5. Now we are on top 5. There is no comparison. I agree to that point precisely. But how did economy reach there? Imagine, Megha ji, you had this economy at fragile 5. You had a MOU with Chinese Communist Party, and you had literally banks failing. Now you had all kinds of scams happening. Your inflation was always in double digits. I always talk on this channel. I say 13th November or 23rd November 2023, check the food inflation, when it was the economist Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh ji, and the biggest economist of the world, which is Modi ji ne kaha ब्रह्मांड के सबसे बड़े अर्थशास्त्री Mr. P. Chidambaram. Look at the inflation now. Look at the inflation now. Look at the roads built then, look at the roads built now. Look at the foreign exchange then, look at the foreign exchange reserves now. Look at Atmanirbhar Bharat, Make in India, look at it now. Look at the per capita income. Look at the number of people which have been taken out from the poverty, 25 crore people. It's a big number. Still you are able to give rations to 80 crore people, and you have only, I think, 15 crore people, or no, sorry, 1.5 crore people which are still in poverty. So you are building the maximum number of roads in an hour. You have more roads in the United States of America. You have 6-7 express highways in UP, which was a Bimaru state. Your exports are $770 billion. This year we expect to do $1 trillion. Roads building. You have maximum number of Jan Dhan accounts opened. You have 2.57 lakh crores of money parked in Jan Dhan accounts as saving. Now you have this Jan Dhan, Aadhaar and mobile, which is a revolution. If it comes to mobile, in 2014 you were net importers of mobile. In 2024 you are the second biggest exporter of mobile, doing $10 billion. You have the cheapest internet in the India. You have the cheapest per GB cost in the India, cheapest telephone in the India. If that was not possible, how could the digital India happen? How could the digital revolution?
Okay, all right. Sharad, quickly a point over here. The question that is also being asked of the BJP is that why have they not touched upon the important core factor which has to be tackled by any government that comes into power. The first question is asked is about how are you going to resolve the unemployment crisis. Now, as per the figures that are provided by the Congresses, that the unemployment was 1 crore in 2012. It rose to about 4 crore in 2022. There were 10 lakh sanctioned central government posts that remain unfulfilled as of today. The unemployment rate for graduates and postgraduates is about 33%. So, again, I find no mention whatsoever on the topic of unemployment in the white paper.
See, Megha, as I said earlier, first of all, I would like to delink, these vacancies in the government vis-a-vis the unemployment problem in the country. I think the two things are completely different. It's like, I'm sorry, it's like comparing apples and oranges, because what is vacant in a government position is for the government to see that when that needs to be filled and what part of the government is not functioning because of that, or whether the government is functioning efficiently or not efficiently. You can't give recruitment to somebody for the sake of recruiting. If you need the person, the government will recruit. So I think the problem of unemployment and vacancies in government, I don't know why these two things are related. Can government employ the whole country? Can you employ the entire Indian workforce in the government? I think government duty, Megha, any government, whether it is UP or NDA, is not to give employment. Government has to create an atmosphere, an environment where employment can be generated. And the biggest step taken, to my mind, here is the economist in me now trying to yell out that for God's sake, if there is a capex, if there is a thrust on infrastructure, if the government spends that engine of the economy, if that fires, well, employment will be generated without a doubt. And that has happened. I reiterate my point that for skilled people in this country, I'm making a very bold statement again, because I want to be very, very vociferous about this. For skilled workforce in this country, the unemployment rate is negative. Each skilled person has got more than one options. I can tell you with conviction, bring any skilled person, find a skilled person who's unemployed, Megha, bring him on your channel, and I'll challenge him, I'll question him if he's lying or if he's telling the truth.
Okay.
That's one. So I think the infrastructure push which this government has given, the national infrastructure pipeline, That by itself, anybody understanding basic economics of class 12 will be able to tell you that if government spend, employment is generated, where does the money go? You know, MSMEs function, large industries function, cement, steel, tiles, everything works. You know, bitumen, every single part
So,
of the.
but then how do we collate this data in then representing a true picture of what is the unemployment rate in our country currently, as has been put out by the Congress in the paper that it has released?
No, because there is, as I said in the beginning, there is no way in this country, unlike America. In America, Megha, I can do a real-time unemployment check. At this point, if you ask me how many people in America are unemployed, how many are employed, how many jobless claims are there, I can tell you right now. But unfortunately, in our country, till date, and this has been one of the misses of this NDA government, no system of measuring unemployment has been generated. Apart from EPFO and apart from some small CMI type organization, there is no system. Who measured Congress's unemployment? If you are challenging NDA's employment, then how did you measure your unemployment? Because that was 10 years ago. There was even less technology. There was no means. So how did you measure, first of all? So I can question that data outright because there was no system. Did you go to a village and ask 20 people, are you employed, are you not employed? And you came out with a percentage? I'm sorry. That number cannot be accepted by any means. So I very, very categorically say that the numbers being quoted for unemployment are baseless. There is absolutely no system of verifying those numbers, Megha.
Okay, all right.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.